Emotional Intelligence for Sales Leadership by Colleen Stanley. This is all about part 4. In the first 3 parts, there are things that we are asking ourselves, but there's also a lot in the section 3, especially about how to use emotional intelligence with other people, as in what are you looking for in them from an emotional intelligence perspective. Well, section 4 is all about you. Mirror, mirror on the wall, am I modeling what I'm teaching at all? It's all about the idea that we have to do the things that we're expecting other people in our organizations, on our teams that we are working with to do themselves. And my first call out is about just that. Let's revisit the neuroscience of influence. An effective sales leader is good at emotional management and is consistent in how she shows up. This consistency builds a sales culture of trust. If I'm consistent in my emotions, then I, as the leader, am able to truly be the same person in every interaction. And what I mean by that is that on Tuesday, I show up the same way as on Friday. And when I'm tired, I show up the same way as when I've got time. When I'm crazy busy, I show up the same way as I do if I am relaxed and just finished a big project. Trust is built through that level of consistency, so that the people on my team, the people on your team, actually trust you to be the same leader and manager every time they interact with you. Instead of that manager that you probably remember having where you were never sure who was going to show up. The same exact scenario happened at work, and yet one day it was okay and they were cool, calm, and collected, and another time they flew off the handle. And all of a sudden you begin to walk around on eggshells, and that's not someone who you go to when you need help, when you need advice, when you want to get better at your job, because you're not actually sure who you're going to get, Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde. Now that might seem like a really extreme thing, but I will share with you that salespeople who are looking to a sales leader or a sales manager for direction need to know that you're going to be consistent not only in your emotional management, but also in your advice. The next piece of the puzzle that I want to give you, my second call out for this section, is about curiosity coaching. Now, I might have been unconsciously competent in this because I've always been a curious person, but when I read this part of the book and that idea of curiosity coaching, I have to tell you, it's huge. If instead of looking at what we're being told when we're in a coaching scenario with a salesperson and start to analyze it, instead if we ask questions with curiosity, we are going to find out a whole different thing. If we go into the interaction with an idea that we, as the coach, want to understand more about what's going on, we can truly start to get them to think differently. If we start asking questions to draw them out and get them to think differently about what's happening, then the end result is going to be more their ideas and more their expertise and drawing in everything they already know how to do to come up with a better scenario, a better solution, a better way of working through whatever we're doing from a sales coaching perspective. It also got me thinking, a little bit differently about the fact that when I'm coaching for curiosity, I also need to be listening for curiosity in the salesperson. Are they a curious person? Because I know for myself that that is one of the 6 traits that I know I look for in salespeople, curiosity. So if they're stuck, but they're a curious person, maybe I can pull them away from that feeling of being in a situation that they're stuck inside of by making them curious to understand what's happening and really move forward. So curiosity coaching is my second call out from this. And the third is expertise versus teaching. And Colleen uses a John Wooden quote, who is a basketball coach. So those of you who know me know I normally am not quoting sports figures, but this got me thinking. Quote, "Don't equate your expertise with your ability to teach." End quote. How many of us were really great salespeople and then got promoted to sales manager? That's usually how it works. Well, the skills and things that were making you successful as a salesperson can't necessarily just be fostered off on the people who are now working for you. They have to be taught. But there's another piece of that puzzle. Your way is not the only way. So as you're thinking about your own expertise, remember a few things when you're working with the people on your team. Number 1, you need to be modeling the behavior, which is what this section is all about, all of the time. I also want you to consider the fact that you teach a skill, the how-to component pieces and parts. But what I want you to delegate out is the result. We're getting to a particular place. Well, there might be a lot of paths to get there. So certainly use your expertise, but then from a coaching perspective, have the person you're working with meld and model what you've done into something that works for them, uses their skills, their experience, their own expertise, and their personality to get to the result that you both have agreed on. So taking your expertise and turning it into how-to and teaching it is one piece of that puzzle, but also believing that people can get to the same place another way is critical to your sales success from a leadership and a management perspective. Because how you did it is not necessarily the best way for every single person on your sales team to get to the same result. So in section 4 of Colleen's book, Emotional Intelligence for Sales Leadership, it is taking everything that you thought about and did in the first sections and figuring out a way to apply it all to you. Buy the book. Become a better leader by managing your emotions and helping other people do the same. Have a great week.